Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Titan Minerals is a junior explorer listed on the Australian Stock Exchange. We'll get it going. There's the standard disclaimers. A company snapshot. Currently, Titan has made a bid for a TSXV listed company, Cory Gold, and we're in the process of going through that now, and our bid is due to finish this week, and currently we control 82.4% of the stock, and we expect to get that pretty much closer to 90% by the end of the week. The snapshot of the balance sheet of the company at the moment, post the merger, would end up with about 800 million shares at 15.5 cents a share, which was the price at the end of January, and we'd end up with a cumulative diluted market cap of about 127. That's the implied valuation of the transaction. We have about 5 million in cash, and a 9.7 of debt is shown there, which after the transaction will fall back to about 5 million. Basically, Titan offered 3.1 shares for every Cory Gold share. The bid was made last September. Basically, once we get control of the company, we'd be looking to change the board, merge the board, delist Cory Gold from the TSXV, and then do a scheme of arrangement to combine the company and take 100% of the stock. To complete the transaction, we were required to raise 3.5 million in cash, which we did in September, and we've got a undrawn line of credit of US $10 million. The consolidated portfolio of the company would include the Dynasty Goldfield Project, which is in Ecuador, the Cory Overview Project, which is an epithermal vein system in Peru. There's the Aruma Project, which is an underground mine in Ecuador with a mill, CIP plant, 2,000 tonne a day at Portobello. The Copper Duke Project, which is a multi-phase copper porphyry in Ecuador. Santos, which is a high sulfidation system in Peru. That's the Darest Copper Gold Project. It's a high-grade, high sulfidation gold system up against a porphyry copper. And we also have the Vista Gold Plant, which is a small toll milling business in Peru. The board would end up with 7 people, basically 3 of us and 3 of them, plus 1 more perhaps, with us having the controlling vote. The consolidation would represent 40% of the shareholders would be our shareholders, and 60% would be the previous core shareholders. That's just to give you an example or an idea of where the assets are up in Ecuador and down in Peru. The Dynasty Goldfields project is the main focus of our interest. It's currently got a 2 million ounce resource on it. It's a polygonal estimate, which is not JORC compliant. The project is a massive vein swarm system. It's got 26,000 metres of core into it, of which only the veins of above 1.5 metres were ever assayed. So there's a lot of core sitting in the tray that's unsplit and unassayed. The project is 9 kilometres in strike length, and what you've got is the majority of the drilling to date is down at the Serra Verde end, and then you've got about 20 holes up around Papial. The Cory Gold have open pitted 3 of those veins. They've been mining it and trucking material to their Portobello mill, which is 183 kilometres away, and they've been managing a head grade of 3.2 grams per tonne, and they've been getting around about 90% recovery out of it. When they mined the 3 veins, they managed to open it up, and they uncovered an additional 8 veins. So the vein density here is much greater, and what we're planning to do is do an exploration program on it, put another 12,000 metres of core into it, and we expect to be able to redo the JORC resource in 6 to 9 months' time and underpin that with additional drilling, extensions at depth, infill some of the gap and the strike length, and twin some of the holes. So we're looking to put a technical benchmark under this project, and hopefully we'll increase the resource, or if not, substantiate what's there. That gives you an example of the density of information that's on the project. All the holes and and the sampling points in both ends with very little done in between. Copper Duke is a multi-phase porphyry. It's got a mineralised area of about 5 square kilometres. It's got gold-rich veining and copper veining. Core owns about 60% of the surface. It's a sparsely populated area. It's got no drill holes in it. Core Gold went through a strategic review as part of this process. When we were bidding for them, looking for other parties who were interested, they had 15 people or 15 groups that were interested in this asset. We're pretty excited about it. It's got the potential to be a Tier 1 asset. Linderos is basically it's a high sulfidation system sitting up against a porphyry. It's got very few holes into it. There's about 5 holes into it. On one end of this property there's a silica cap, and part of that cap's eroded, and what you've got is stockworks and breccias exposed, about 250 by 200 metres. We found that artisanals were working it and basically went in and trenched it, and you get very high-grade trenching results, of some of which are shown there. We're going to basically go in here and do some geophysics on it, surface work, and try and establish a drill program on it over the next 12 to 18 months. Cory is an epithermal vein system, 16 veins, 1.5 to 2 metres wide, 7 or 8 grams. It's been historically mined by artisanals. The veins are over a 1 kilometre strike length. They can be mapped at about an additional half a kilometre. We're pretty excited about the project. We feel that it's got a potential to be a standalone operation. It was originally acquired to provide feed for the Vista mill. The Santos project, which is adjacent to Cory, is a high sulfidation system. It's a grassroots exploration project, but we still feel it's got a lot of potential there. What we plan to do with the assets is we're looking to potentially divest some of these assets, probably the Peruvian ones. We're looking to take the Ecuadorian assets and focus on the gold. Copper Duke, the work program we've got planned for Dynasty, we're planning to do the 12,000 metres I mentioned. Our budget's roughly around 3 million, 3.5 million. We'd do geophysics on all those projects, Linderos, Copper Duke and Dynasty. Do the proper technical work, surface mapping, put the drill to it, get the basic geologic models worked out, try and underpin the resource at Dynasty, and then at Copper Duke we would probably spin that out maybe in a year and a half's time. Thanks very much.